Once upon a time, Polly ran frantically through the dark forest of fear and doubt until one day she slowed down enough to notice the trees were beautiful. The more she noticed the trees, the less she saw the darkness. She discovered she was in an olive grove rather than a forest. This is when she uncovered her magic truth. Polly's purpose is to shine in every way. Welcome to her manifesting success story. Hello and welcome to this episode. I am back with Paulie Rojas for interview number 16 in her Years of Growth series. I'm so excited. Welcome, Paulie.
Yay! Thank you for having me back for the 16th time.
I know, it's so
unbelievable.
Awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
Normally I will still ask what's awesome, but I want to lead with what I think is awesome is that we're recording this March 1st, 2021, and we're just a couple weeks past your 3 years. So having been in the Enchanted Circle for 3 years, we're starting on year number 4. And so I would just love to hear any thoughts, feelings about that milestone.
So many thoughts and feelings. Wow, 3 years. I feel like I've said this in past interviews, but it never ceases to amaze me how quickly time goes by.
Mm-hmm.
And how incredible I feel where I am now, and how I wouldn't recognize myself 3 years ago, and how amazing and fortunate and blessed I feel to be here still. So it's just amazing. All the things that have happened in 3 years.
Oh, it is so amazing. And I love it. And I love we're going to talk a lot today about all of the growth. And I love when you guys are here, and I love that I was inspired and connected and feel good about having people here for 5 years and longer, because so much happens. And we get to years ago, my company is called Spiral Up, the legal name of it. And when I chose that, I knew what it meant, but it's even more now, right? You start out and you grow, and then you up level, and you kind of go through the same things again, but you get bigger. And then you go a little bit through the same things and you get bigger until you have this huge spiral circle of amazing, awesome things. And you're just this amazing, huge being in all senses of the word.
I love it when you said the word spiral. I pictured how a spiral starts pretty big at the start. Yeah. And then the more you spiral up, the smaller the spiral gets. And so the quicker you go around it, and then it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. So for me, it symbolizes it just speeds up and up and up and up.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I can see myself starting the first spiral was probably this huge circle that I couldn't see the circle coming together, but I trusted you. And eventually we finished the first circle, and then the next circle and the next circle, until right now I feel like I am close to the top of the spiral, because I feel, in terms of how I feel, and trusting and letting go. And it's just, the momentum just is up and up and up, and smaller and smaller and bigger, and, higher and higher. So that's I love that image that just came to mind.
Yes. I love hearing you say that too, because you are. And I love that you say, I can feel it. Mm-hmm. And so you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So at first, when I came to you, I wanted to be a movie star, and I wanted to book every audition, and I wanted to, have a list of things that I wanted in my life, physical things. And so what's really amazing is that I have so much of it, but more importantly, I feel that I'm emotionally there. That's the most important, because we want all the things that we want because of how we feel. Right. And so if we feel that first, then it doesn't matter what we have, or all the physical stuff, because that'll come anyway because of the feeling. So whereas I don't have everything that I wanted on my list, I'm so close. I'm so close. And I'm close because I've worked with you, and I have this feeling of abundance and trust and letting go and happiness and being in choice all the time. And that
Yeah.
only gets richer and richer, with the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And I think that's the understanding is a deep LOA concept of that. Like I feel it, so it's definitely coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's something people say all the time, right? You have to feel it first, you have to do whatever. So what did you think that meant in the beginning versus now?
I just felt like, what? No, no, no. You misunderstood me. Like, that sounds nice, Cassie, but I want, the trophies, and I want
Yeah.
the admiration. I want all of this. And you're like, okay, but stop, and
Yeah.
I know you remember, but I was ready to like find
Oh my
$100,000 to do a
goodness.
little short film. Remember
Yes.
that?
Yes, I do remember that.
And you were like, whoa, 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 whoa. And I'm like, no, no, this is the way to do it. And I'm going to email everyone. I'm going to figure out how to do it. And you're like, first of all, you're not going to figure out anything. Let's step into what it would feel like. And we started scripting and all of that stuff. And so I totally forgot what the question was.
The difference between when when you start and you hear
Yeah.
that like LOA term, I have to feel it, and then
Mm-hmm.
it
Right.
becomes versus what it is now, or what it means now.
Because I felt like I was going, like, stepping so far back. I felt like, oh no, I've done this. I've been auditioning for so long. I've been acting for so long. Like, having to go and feel feelings just felt like such a step back.
Mm-hmm.
And it was what I needed to
Right.
move exponentially forward and feel good and have things fall on my lap, which
Yes.
I love sharing with you, all the things that are falling into my lap and doing nothing but feeling things it's like a slingshot, right? I felt like you were
Yes.
slinging me back, and I felt like I was going backwards, but little did I know I was being propelled forward so much.
Yes, I love that visual because it's so
Full
true.
of visuals today.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
It's like putting me on the fast track.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I love that. Speaking of fast track, since you joined the Enchanted Circle, off the top of your head, how much do you think you've manifested?
I'm so happy you asked me that right before, because I did like a really quick calculation just on 2020,
Mm-hmm.
global
Yes.
pandemic happening, and off the top of my head, like around $85,000, $90,000 off, like, and that's without adding all the little things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the gifts,
Yeah.
or any of that. So I would say just in 2020 alone, close to $100,000, which is 10 times 10K.
Yes.
And like, it's just like, I didn't, I thought, someone mentioned earlier on the call today that she had the best February in her business, but she felt funny because she didn't work as much, didn't have to hire somebody. So I had the same feeling of, I really didn't work that much, and I had a lot of fun, being at home and everything. So I didn't ever think I was going to be close to what I made, but I did.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Mm-hmm. And I especially love, as your coach, I'm going to point this out, that, you're like closer to 100,000, 10 times 10,000, which is so big for you, because the last time when you started through Manifest 10K, because everybody has to do it more than once, you wanted to go, well, even I think when you very first started, like 10K didn't feel, but like, no, I want to manifest 100,000. I want this.
Yeah.
Right. And so the fact that you have learned, just even in the subtleness of your words, like 10 times 10,000, because that has been, this last round through, it was like, okay, ask for 10,000 and it would show up, and like, okay, what's the next 10,000? And it would show up, and that kept happening. Right.
Yep. Yeah. And it's funny because I used to think I had to work so hard for the first 10,000, and if it came easy, the next 10,000 wasn't going to be easy. Yeah. But just looking back at 2020, I was so, my intention was so strong that I do public speaking on the side, that I didn't want to do that anymore. But if I did, it was going to be like clients that I totally align with their mission, and one client will pay me $10,000. That's what I wanted. And of course, like, I got it, and I'm, get to work. One person is giving me $10,000, and his mission is all about mission-driven capitalism, how you can be big, do well, and do good, Yeah. So I'm like, how cool. This is exactly what I wanted. And he's so easy. and he does all the work, and I'm there coaching him, but he does all the work. So I love that, how easy it is.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. And such good evidence for me because I've always believed in my heart of hearts. Until you said it, I didn't know like that was a term, but it totally makes sense. And that's, I believe that we can have capitalism and people making money and creating a better life, and it can benefit everyone, right?
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
that's, of course, and of course that's who my client is, because that's what you do and that's what I align with. And
Right.
it's really, he does it through, he worked on, his dad died of Alzheimer's, and so he's all about, but he does something different, some tech thing. But
Yeah.
he wants to be the Peloton of healthcare, is how he puts it, and to take care of
Amazing.
our healthcare workers and all of this
Yeah.
really wonderful stuff. So I'm really, really so happy.
Ah, that's amazing. Yay.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what would you say, we talked a lot about inspiration versus trusting a couple weeks ago in our one-on-one. So what would you say is the biggest aha or growth since our last interview?
I'm laughing now because I was not in a laughing mood like a couple of weeks ago. It's like
Right.
crying.
It was not funny.
It was not funny at all. I was like on my deathbed, and I tested positive for COVID, and I was ashamed. I'm like, Kathy, just like a mess. And I'm like, and I have to keep training, and I have to do, I counted 13 ballet classes a week, and that was on top of the classes I did online on my own, and doing singing and language lessons. And I was really, really pushing myself. I tested positive and I didn't stop. I was like, I can just do it. This is what I say to COVID, and just kept pushing. And then I just couldn't do it anymore.
Right.
And I was so ashamed that I couldn't do it. And so you told me, stop, just stop everything, which again felt like the very beginning so counterintuitive to all the progress I'd already done for the past year. I was like, no, Cassie, you don't understand. And then, of course, you're like, just stop everything. And I was like, what about ballet? You're like, stop it. You need, you have to focus just on your health, just get better. And I said, well, what about doing the assignments? And you're like, no, stop doing that, because you don't want like your sick self being the one that's stepping up right now to do these assignments. And I was like, but what about, like, in my head, I'm like, you're not asking me to just stay in bed, are you? And you're like, yep, that's it. And I was like, okay, well then I'll just reread the script and like start learning the song. And you're like, no, nothing. Like, literally just do nothing, and only do something if it's inspired and if it like makes you feel good. And so I was like, okay, well, what if I feel like being productive and I want to do the assignments? And you're like, well, then definitely don't do the assignments. Like, and so it felt so wrong, but I trusted you. And then I let go of everything. All I did, you were like, you let me listen to your podcast and, puzzle. And it was really the most transformative week in bed I've ever had, ever had. I'm still reeling. I still feel it. Because so many things fell into my lap. So many things showed up. People showed up the way, and that filled my heart the way they were showing up. And I listen to calls. I do want to point out episode 257 of your podcast, Manifested Now with Ginny, because it was so aligned. I think it was like right after, the day after I listened to it. And you said something so incredible. You always do, but it just, and I told, like, I'd heard this podcast 2 times or 3 times, right? But again, I heard it, and at the end, you're like, what if you did nothing? Ask yourself, like, what if you did nothing and you still got what you wanted? And the answer is, it would be awesome if you did nothing and got what you wanted. And that felt so good, because I literally was forced to do nothing. And in that span of time of the week, it's just, my boyfriend cleaned the entire house and like took care of me. Like, he was scrubbing the bathtub. He ran me a bath. He fed me. He went shopping for me, took care of me, which I never expected him. I didn't ask him to do that. He just did, And my sister called, and asked me if I wanted a brand new MacBook computer. It's like, yeah.
That's right. Just asked.
Yeah, she just asked.
Yeah.
And she said, if I could write a little show, a little kids show for her son, my little nephew. Him and I get along so well. He's 3. And then I'm on hold for a really cool job. So it's down to me and somebody else, perhaps, of this really amazing job. And this is all from bed. Like, they're asking me, are you available? Just really, news from the show that my dream role was popping up. Just everything felt so good. And I was literally doing nothing in bed.
Amazing.
And just really sleeping a lot. Oh, one more thing.
Yeah, of course.
You told me, because I feel so bad if I sleep in, right? And you were like, well, instead of feeling bad, why don't you celebrate that you're honoring what your body needs to do, to celebrate it, and then go from there. And that felt, I feel, I'm all over the place. But I didn't tell you this, but so I lost my sense of smell. And that's like that rule. I was like, no, on Valentine's Day. And like, my boyfriend cooked me like salmon and steak, and I couldn't taste it. It was tragic. Yeah. But I threw myself into bed, did nothing, canceled everything. And a week later, so then I read, like, when does your sense of smell and taste come back? And of course, never read anything online because you have cancer or like, yeah. and like, I kept reading, like, if you're lucky, like, in 6 months, but you'll probably have very little left anyway. Things like that. Like, just so depressing. And they're like, on average 21 days, but like, you won't really feel a difference because it's blah, blah. 7 days later, I got my sense of smell back. Like, just fully.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. One day I was like, I smell that. I taste this. And I really, when I told like doctors, and they were like, really? It was only 7 days? Even they're amazed that it came back so quickly. And I know it's because I just stayed in bed and did nothing and took care of myself.
Absolutely. Yay. Yes. I love all of this.
Yeah. Sorry, long-winded answer, but
no, it's amazing. And I think it's almost this perfect timing of, like, you didn't manifest getting COVID, but the timing of it landing right at your 3-year anniversary and having to really slow down, because there is this, right? I just put it together too.
Yeah. Oh my, wow. Literally, like, on the day of my 30-year anniversary, or the day before my 30 years, when I was really just down and out.
Right. Yeah. And so having to have this time to stop, right? And I really, obviously you don't have to get like anything to have that time, but it just like lined up, and it's perfect because it gave you this lesson, which is right where you're ready for, and we come into, and I've been, at the time we're recording this, Jean's, her year 4 and 5 of interviews are coming out. And so I've been going through them, and, she very much around this time a year ago, I was like, no more, like, we're not, like, nothing that isn't inspired. Literally, there's no kind of, well, it feels good. There is none of that, and and there is this thing about, coming in, learning to do the work consistently, and both like as becoming, doing ballet, this is your law of attraction work, doing it consistently, and then really sort of just letting go, and then letting inspiration fill in. It's a process. Like, I think we do need to be consistent, and then, because we need to become, we need to learn, we need to see the things, and then we can allow for this really big hit and this unfolding of inspiration.
I love that. And I feel like our bodies are so in tune with the universe, more than we are with our minds sometimes, that it's like my body knew I had to stop. And like the universe knew it. My body picked up on it and was like, I can't do this anymore.
Right.
Even though my mind is like, yes, you can,
Right. Just keep going.
Let's do it. Yeah. But having to do a full stop. And then, so a week later, when I had my one-on-one with you, I'm like, okay, I feel this is amazing. I had the best week of my life. Now what? Like, where do I start?
Right. And what do I do again?
Now what? Yeah. Do I start doing the assignments? And you're like, no, like, for the next 90 days, just do what is inspiring. Again, like if you want to get up and, go for a walk, like, but only if it's inspired. If it's something you think you should do, just don't do it. Um, and that has been even greater. Like I see this trust building more and more and more and more from doing nothing. And then I love that you were like, and then ask yourself, what if I still do nothing? And I get everything I want? It would be awesome. So it's just really wonderful to grow deeper, like a
Yeah.
deeper well. Yeah.
Absolutely. And will you share the story about, your sister was like, I'll give you this, do you want this, or,
Oh
offered a
yeah.
computer, and about the show, right?
Oh yes. Okay. So the deal was she would buy me this computer, and she calls me, and it's got like the works, right? Huge storage, all of this stuff that is really really valuable in a computer, right? Um, and she told this to me right when I was sick in bed, and I immediately I was like, oh, just go write it, because I'm the opposite of a procrastinator, which actually backfires a lot
Yeah.
because I feel like I just want to get it done versus
hmm
allowing it to come. So I'm in bed, but I had no energy, which was a blessing because I would have written so many bad episodes, right? Um, but I'm just thinking, and I'm in bed with no energy, and I just said, okay, I don't want to like force anything. I don't want to write something and it feels torturous. I
Right.
want the universe to write it, and I want it to be quick. I want it to be really fun and really quick. That's what I wanted. And then I would like fantasize about it, but that's it. And then I'd
Yeah.
stop and like listen to music. Um and then of course I was like, oh, but what if I never get inspired to write it? Like that, I'm like, oh,
hmm
what if I did nothing, again? What if I did nothing and it just wrote
Yeah.
itself? Wouldn't that be awesome? Um, so exactly 2 weeks later, today I woke up and I had a quick catch up with a client. And then I was supposed to go do something else, but I was like, I'll just do a quick outline. And then in like 10 minutes, the episode came out. And
Amazing.
I was like, oh, that was fun. And that was so easy. And I didn't do anything. I just wrote. And
Uh,
I don't consider myself a writer at all. But I was so proud of myself for how like everything was connecting. And like there was a second where I was like, oh, how does this work out? And then it just worked itself out. So it was really, really special. And I'm sure this happens to you when you write all of the
yeah.
stuff you write, how it's like a bit of like a vessel, we're
Yeah.
vessels. And this just felt so good. So good.
That's amazing. So
Yeah.
exciting.
And then
Um,
I had a moment where I was like, oh, but what if I can't write the second episode like that? And I was like, no, no.
right? No.
Yeah. Don't go
Yeah.
there. It's going to come the same way the first one came through inspiration.
Yes. Oh, that's so amazing. And so
Yeah.
it's a good time I want to talk about this coaching. I gave you this question to ask yourself. Am I pushing perfection or allowing
Mhm.
inspiration? And so will you talk a little bit about what that means to you, and then yeah, just how you've navigated it? You
Yes,
mentioned
of
being
course.
not a procrastinator, and I really think that
Right.
falls into the like pushing perfection, right?
Oh, so much. Yeah. So I have a great example in my boyfriend who like is so good about not like everything always works out for him. He's not in the enchanted circle,
Right.
but it's like I have such great examples everywhere. But he just does what he wants. He's happy. If there's a problem, he just doesn't worry. And so it was really fortunate. This is total manifestation that a dream project was offered to my boyfriend and I, and I really wanted to please the producer. So of
Mhm.
course I'm like busting out sheets and like spreadsheets and like, what are we gonna buy? Just everything. And he's just like, whoa. And I'm like, no, we have to do this, right? And we would go film some tests, and it was just fight after fight, and just and then I felt like he was being lazy when really he's just totally in tune and waiting for inspiration, because you know when he's inspired, it's amazing, right?
Mhm.
um and so we were doing these tests, and it was just so forced. And you told me, because I deeply care about this project, and I want to be perfect at it,
Mhm.
and you were telling me to stop pushing perfection and let
Mhm.
inspiration happen, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, of course, Cassie. Like, of course you're gonna say that. and um, and then the holidays happen. Nothing like the producer told us to wait until spring because it'll be sunnier. New York will look, brighter. And then I got sick. I got COVID. Couldn't do anything anyway. And then a couple of days ago, we went out. My boyfriend was like, let's go out and shoot. Like, he's been taking the initiative, which is
Mhm.
what I want. Um, and I kept saying like, what if I do nothing? What if I do nothing? And we had so much fun doing this
Oh,
project, and
okay.
we're learning, and he's experimenting with the camera. And of course, the producer then calls me and he's like, I don't know if we want to do this yet. I think something bigger is in the works, which I love because it was fun to do this and get creative
Mhm.
and work with my boyfriend. Just the evidence of working with my boyfriend
Right.
on a dream project, and that there's maybe something like I wasn't completely crazy about this
Right.
project, but it was so neat to have the experience of having it show up, and
Mhm.
then now it's going to shift, and I really feel it's going to be something that is so aligned with like me, with my boyfriend, with the producer, with the world.
Yes. Oh, yay.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love that because that's all coming and like it's all happening. And it's just this evidence of when you don't push it, right? Like, and my favorite,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of told the story, but I definitely want listeners to hear it. It was like, what if we go here? Like, should I tell him like I can't do this, right? This really like, what
Mm-hmm.
if I can't deliver on time? And
Mm-hmm.
then, I'm like, it's okay. Like, you don't need to like micromanage this. And he comes back and he's like, just wait till spring. Right.
He's like, no rush, like take it
Right.
easy. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've told me this, that like um in so many ways, but I had so many questions because of my neurosis, and I'm like, oh, but I need to ask him all these stuff, and it feels weird. And you were like, it's time to ask the question because it'll be easy, because
Hmm.
it'll everything about it will be easy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that makes so much sense, right?
Yeah.
And that, because I'm not pushing for answers,
Right.
and 9 times out of 10 the producer tells me the answer before I've even asked it.
Right.
And that like everything is aligned. Like if we can't deliver now, it's because it's not working out on their timing either.
Hmm.
So I love knowing, and really really leaning into that trust.
Yeah. And I love that you're really getting that. Like, this is giving you a great opportunity to see, like, oh, and it's not easy on our side. Something else is happening on that side, on the back end that
Right.
we don't know. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Until you
Exactly.
get the message that's like, we don't know if we want to do this. So
Yeah,
just,
we actually, I'm rethinking this. I'm rethinking this. And I'm like, oh, that would have been so terrible if I was really pushing it on, like just pushing it
Right.
for nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Speaking of not pushing it, will you share your pearl earring story
Yeah.
that's building your trust so beautifully?
Oh, I love it. It's so little, but it's so big. So we went to do some tests for this project, and I have my signature earrings that like give, I think complete the character. So we go walk around and test, come back after a full day, and I'm taking my makeup off and everything, and I realize that my one of my pearl earrings is missing, and I'm like, no, this is the finishing touch. But whatever, it's okay. It's gonna work out anyway. So we go the next day to do some more tests, and I told my boyfriend, let me just, I live where there's like $1 million stores,
Hmm.
let's go and let's see if they have little pearl earrings, and so we go to one, there's no pearl earrings. We go to a second one, there's no pearl earrings. We go to a third one, and they have these little like fake pearl diamond things.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, they're cheap. They do the trick. But then I was like, you know what? It's not a hell no. It's not a, you know, let's do it. I mean, it's not a hell yes. It's not
Yeah.
like, so I was like, okay, well, just trust it. And it was like a second. It wasn't like, oh, deliberating. It was just no. So we go, we do the test shoot, come back after a long day. And of course, what do I find on my floor is my little pearl earring. And it's like I said, it seems so little, but it was that moment of, is it a hell yeah or a hell no? Or
Mhm.
just not even a hell yeah. And trusting that I had a feeling I would find it, but in my head, I was like, it's New York City. Like, who
Right.
knows where this little pearl earring is? It could be in the gutter, but it was just right there. And it was profound for me that I listened to that,
Mhm.
to, that trust in me. So
Yeah.
profound. Yeah. In the midst of everything else that I've been, honing
Yeah.
these last couple of weeks. Yeah.
That's such a good lesson. Those are always my favorite. Anything that, I find this over and over again. Like sometimes I'll ask, like, what's your favorite manifesting story? And it's those little things, or like your favorite trust building story for you. Like, this is it. Like, I listened and here it is. And yet it creates such a big experience because it's different and it's new. And it's like, yeah, that could have been lost in New York City.
And it was in my
Yeah.
apartment. And I just remember this. So I had found my little pearl earring, but it didn't have the back.
Yeah.
But I was like, whatever, it's just the back, right?
Right.
The next morning, my boyfriend's like, oh, here's the back.
Oh
So
my gosh.
he completed it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, he finished off the whole trusting. He was part of it.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, so I have my little pearl earrings complete. They're complete
Ah,
again.
yay. Oh,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Hmm.
So other than that trust exercise and having your complete earrings, where's the best manifestation you've had over the past few months?
The best manifestation, I think I'm still on a high from COVID, um, and everything that's happened, and more like everything that I haven't had to do, and
Mm-hmm.
then everything that's coming to me
Yeah.
without doing anything is really, really
Yes.
wonderful. And I think I mentioned it, like when we have our one-on-ones, like your
Mm-hmm.
coaching is about the fact that my dream role is happening. It's not like,
Yeah.
"Oh, there's evidence here and this happened." Yeah, it's like, no, it's like it's actually happening, and I need coaching to step into my future
Yes.
self because it's being rolled out right now. And that's
Yes.
pretty incredible. And it's this, as you know, this is the dream role of my entire life. And it's like it found me. And like it's another thing I've learned, like with auditions, it's in
Mm-hmm.
that if it wasn't my part, like it wasn't my part. Like I could have
Right.
been brilliant, but
Yeah.
it wasn't my part. And I used to get really, really upset about it. I still probably will if I really wanted a part.
Mm-hmm.
But the best parts I've ever had literally came to me. And I didn't get coaching on
Amazing.
it, like not coaching
Yes.
with you, but acting. Like I
Yeah.
didn't have to hire someone to do that. It was all from me. Um, and I knew it. I was so like on target. I knew it. I just knew it. It was bigger than me, you know.
Yeah.
So I remember that when I don't get little, voiceover here or there. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
but your giant dream role has found you. So it's okay.
Yes.
It's okay.
Oh, I love that. And I want to
Hmm.
use the words that you used earlier when you said something to me. My dream role is reaching for me,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is so awesome when we talk about that. And I want to highlight this as a coaching thing and just how far you've come. I've never heard that like the best roles I've had just happened.
Hmm.
And so I think that goes to show how much more you're owning it and like
Hmm.
how in the beginning when we are pushing for things, we can't see that that's true.
Hmm.
But the more that we step back and we grow into our future selves, we're like, we can see clearly, like, oh, yeah, the things that I've loved have just come.
Yeah.
And very, very, that becomes very clear what's been there all along.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I recently had I just so many moments just flash in my head right now. But back in LA, when I lived in LA, I did a short film that was totally inspired.
Yeah.
Um, and so and then my dad had die. So I did the short film. My dad
Mhm.
passed away, and then about 8 months later, there was an award show. It was for the Holly Shorts Film Festival, which is kind of, it's not a huge festival, but it's, a respectable one. And
Yeah.
I remember I was doing my makeup, and it was like a hit. I like it startled me because I thought I'm going to win the Best Actress award for this, and I didn't know what to do about it. I was like, okay, that's weird. Just keep doing your makeup. And I just totally forgot about it. And that night we went to like we saw the screening, and then it was the award show was happening, and I was like, drinking wine and eating. And then my best friend comes up to me, and she's like, Polly, they just called your name on stage. You won the Best Actress award. And I was like, and I remember, like, as I was laying in bed, that came to me. And it was so wonderful for me because everything about that short film was inspired. And I did nothing. Like, I did
Yeah.
nothing. I really did nothing.
Right.
And then what I wanted came to me. It
Mhm.
wasn't an amazing, like, wow, it's not Cannes Film Festival, but it was that feeling of I'm okay. I'm being taken care of. And that feeling has found me more and more since I was just lying in bed with fatigue and chills,
Yeah.
not being able to smell or taste. Yeah. Yeah. And oh, sorry. I'm probably running out of
No,
time.
go ahead. You're
Um,
perfect.
but as I was listening to your podcast with Jenny, you had talked about in another episode about doing a homework assignment, like find a
Okay.
picture of a moment in time where you were so, like felt on top of the world. I forget what it was, but I instantly thought of a picture, and it was about that award show, that Best Actress. Yeah,
Amazing.
and I didn't have the energy to look for it. And you
Right.
told me, like, you can listen to podcasts, but don't do any homework. If
Right.
they say it, don't do it. And, and then my boyfriend asked me, he was like, "Hey, do you know where such and such thing is?" I was like, "I don't know. I think it's over here." The thing that he asked for wasn't there, but what was there was the picture.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And then, and you told me, I shared it with you because it's so wonderful. Like, there was my
Yes,
picture.
right there. Like
It
I
was like,
didn't
I'm
have to do
here, I'm here.
anything.
Yeah. My picture was calling for me. And you were like, keep a log or keep something that shows like all of these inspired events because of you
Mhm.
doing nothing. So that's of course at the top of the list. Yeah.
Yay. Ah, I love it. Amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so awesome. So what's the ways that you're seeing your future self show up recently?
Mm, definitely letting go of. I think the biggest one is if I feel a feeling that doesn't feel good.
Mhm.
I know that I have the choice. We always have the choice,
Right.
but to actually apply the choice of
Ah,
this
yes.
isn't worth it, right?
Yes.
I'm always taken care of. I think that is really active lately. Um, just like, I don't like this how I look, or I don't like how I do this. I'm like, okay, who cares? Like, it's still working out. It's still
Right.
like everything is still beautiful and wonderful, and it's getting me to where I want to be. Like, just I can choose to drop it, and I have. So that's been huge.
Oh, amazing. And it so ties in. So, one of the questions that you wanted to ask me, I've kind of added this segment at the end,
Yes.
is about when the producer reaches out to you, right? And you say, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I could be my future self more in terms of being confident in responses and being relaxed and fun. Um, because your current self is fun and your future self is fun and charming and
Mm-hmm.
confident in what she says and what she does. And so the way to step into that is is really this same thing. It's applying that choice, right? So when it comes to an interaction with him or a response, it's reminding myself like, okay, I can choose this sort of current me becoming the past me response, or I can choose like I am Polly Rojas in 5 years, who is all over, who has already done this amazing thing and has this amazing accolade, and who is like won the award for best actor. Like now that I know that, I can't believe I don't know that until now. So funny what comes out when we are ready to step into that. And so it's really about applying that choice, like looking at it and applying the choice, like, I'm going to step into my future self who has a ton of roles, is managing all this, isn't worried, knows who that she'll get, if she doesn't, if she isn't doing it right, then the person will ask for it. Or if she's supposed to be doing more, doing less, like, or doing more really, then somebody will say that. Right. And honoring that
great.
inspiration.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And just really, it's applying that choice that in any moment I can step into my future self. I can become her for this moment at any time, and speak through her voice, and see through her eyes, and hear through her ears, and behave through her body and her mind and her spirit.
Oh, I love that so much. I just got this image. I'm full of images today.
I love
it. Like getting in a car. Let's say like want to go from LA to New York, right?
Yes.
But my job is just to drive there, right? To like put the directions and to drive there. But before I was like, being the mechanic, putting the tire, like putting everything, like being the co-pilot with the map, or like my job is just to drive the car, and the wheels are going to work, like the brakes are going to work, speed, everything's going to work. I just have to drive the car and trust that it's all there. It's all taken care of. But instead of me wanting to like, fix everything and like change oil, and I don't even know how to do that, But it's not my job. It's not my job. Yeah.
Yes.
Drive the car. And you always say this, but you said it today on the call too, and I wrote it down. That we get to choose what my story is going to be, and to choose the one that I want it to be true, because that will override any circumstances. And as long as I'm honoring it and continue to grow that story. So that was so wonderful. I love hearing that. Like, it's just wonderful.
Oh, yay. I love that. And I love that. I feel like too, you have that on a whole deeper level now.
I think so. Yeah, I feel so. Yeah, it feels that way. And it's exciting to know that it will get deeper.
Amazing. If people want to follow your amazing journey on Instagram, how can they follow you?
They can follow me on, my handle is Paulie, like my name, Paulie _Golightly.
Amazing. And any final thoughts or words of wisdom as we wrap up today?
No, gosh. I am grateful, so grateful, and I feel so blessed, and I'm happy to be where I am today. And I'm so happy I invested in me and joining the Enchanted Circle.
Oh, me too. Yay. Cheers to year 4.
Yes.
Yay.
Yes. Thank you, Cassie.
Amazing. This is a fun moment to ask one more question. What do you think we will be, what do you think you will be sharing? I know we'll be celebrating dream roles and all of that at the beginning of year 5, but what do you think will be like, I don't know, what'll be true? What is the story you'll be living?
In 5 years, or
in a year from now, when we're starting year 5? Yeah.
Oh gosh, what will be true? That I would like, this is what I'm choosing, that my journey will impact so many people, along with the way, being part of your journey too, and how you're growing too, but that my journey will have a positive impact on more people than I could have imagined, and that they will also feel inspired to live their best life. That when people talk about me, or when they think of me, they think of, and I remember this was your answer too, but possibilities.
Yes.
Yeah. And that they can say that Paulie is a person that inspires so many possibilities, because that's what you do. And that's what, why I love this work so much.
Yes. Oh, yay. Amazing. And I love it. Thank you. The perfect place to wrap up this interview today. Make sure to come back and check out what's awesome next time in Paulie's life. The telling of stories is so powerful, both to the person telling it and the person receiving it. Since 30,000 BC, we as humans have told stories to teach and guide.
And now we, with Manifesting Success Stories, hope to inspire you to what is possible in your own life. If you want more manifesting success, go to moremanifestingsuccess.com, where you'll find links to anything we've talked about on the show. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, you have the power to write your own happy ever after.